This is the last section of our linear topics in general. And what we're looking at is the point of intersection of two linear relations. So in this case here, we're going to be looking at where do the lines meet? What point do they meet at? And this can give us some valuable data at different times. We're going to look at it graphically using the graph. We're going to see specifically on the graph where they cross. When you move into grade 10, you'll find that you're going to be doing this using some algebra as well, and you're going to be using the formulas to determine how they intersect. But for this year, we're just going to focus on the graphs. So a linear system. So when you're talking about systems and graphs, a system just means a set of two or more equations. So a linear system, a set of two or more linear equations that we're comparing on the same that can be compared on the same axes or involve the same situation and variables. The lines meet at what is called the point of intersection. I usually abbreviate that to POI. And so that's just, again, where they meet. So an example, here we have two linear relations, and the cross here at -1 and -1. So the point of intersection is -1, -1. And we often just write POI and then the point when we're listing it. Again, you can write point of intersection, but I find sometimes it's just easier to write POI. So an example of working with this, we got a graph on the next page and a tables to work with this question. One company sells internet access for $40 plus $10 per gigabyte used. Another charges $90 for unlimited access. Graph each situation using a table. So we'll use our tables here, and our first situation sells internet access for $40 plus $10 per gigabyte used. So our data usage here, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 gigabytes. So we got $40 as our cost initially, and then we're just adding $10 per gigabyte. And then our second company charges $90, but you get unlimited access. So if you use 0 gigabytes of data, you pay $90. Use 1 gigabyte, $90. 2 gigabytes, $90. 3 gigabytes, $90. And 4 gigabytes, $90. No matter what, you're going to pay $90. So we have two situations. We can graph these now. So if we flip over to the second page here, and we'll use those values to graph, we have the first situation. Our initial value is 40, and then we're going up by 10 each time. 3 and 70, 4 and 80. And now, in this case, it makes sense to extend this graph beyond that too. I'm going to do that just because it makes sense to. If we could use more than 4 gigabytes of data, we could use. Well, we got up to 6 on the graph, but we can keep using it. So I'm going to extend this graph because it does make sense to draw it all the way through here. And it's a little bit off, actually. It should look more like this. There we go. So there's our graph. So here we can use the graph. Say, okay, well, at 5 gigabytes, we'd pay 90. And at 6 gigabytes, we'd pay 100. So we can extrapolate some data off that graph. The second graph, I'll do that in black. Or we'll do that in... Yeah, black makes sense here. We use some black on here for it. It, no matter what, is 0 and 90, 1 and 90, 2 and 90, 3 and 90. So you see it's always going to be across here. So it's going to go straight across at 90. Try not to make a little bump like I did. So it's going right across here. And we see that they intersect here at 5 and 90. So 5 gigabytes costs $90. That's where they intersect. And so the second part here says, describe when each plan is a better choice. Well, if you don't use a lot of data, and if you're going to use less than 5 gigabytes of data, it would make sense to get the first plan, the $40 plus $10 a gigabyte, because you're going to pay less. If you use more than that, more than 5 gigabytes, then it would make sense to get the unlimited plan. And some people might say, yeah, oh, well, why not just get the unlimited plan just in case? Well, that might be a good idea initially, but you want to take a look at how you use your data, because you could be saving a significant amount of money. That's a difference in price of $50 if you use no data. If you only use 1 gigabyte, that's a difference of price of $40 a month. So if you're only using 3 gigabytes, that's $20 difference. That's $240 a year. That's a good amount of money that you could be saving if you pick the right plan. So this is one good use of it. So when is each plan a better choice? The $40 plus $10 a gigabyte plan is better if you use less than 5 gigabytes a month. Otherwise, the $90 plan is better. So something simple like that. So we can use these to measure that. And these are useful. Finding the intersection points is also useful when we're mixing chemicals and trying to get certain proportions of chemicals or mixes of things to sell. Like if we're making mixed nuts, and what should be the selling value to make our money back, things like that. And you'll see some of that as you move into grade 10 as well, where you can get some more refined numbers, but there's some good examples in the textbook when you do some of the questions with this as well. So here, again, point of intersection is found for a linear system when you just find where the two graphs cross, and then use that to make decisions.